Hey everyone, my name is CJ Shawley and I'm a senior at May River. I'd like to take a few minutes tonight to talk to you guys about my testimony and how God's changed my life. I'm originally from New York and I lived there for the first half of my life. When I lived in New York, church was a part of my life, but it didn't have any meaning. I was never encouraged to have a relationship with Jesus. I didn't even know that was a thing. And so I just kind of went to church and the rest of the week kind of disregarded it. In 2014, I moved to Bluffton and it sucked. I had no family, no friends, no one to spend time with. Not to mention, there were some bad things that happened once I moved. I'd say like a few months after I moved, my great-grandmother, who we were really close with in New York, passed away. This was really hard, given the circumstances of not having anyone here, but also because we were really close with her and we felt guilty for leaving her. After that, my brother was in a serious life-threatening biking accident where he was hit by a car. This was really hard for my family and I as we struggled to go through this. We didn't have our firm foundation in the Lord, and it was the most traumatic thing I've ever witnessed. My brother, who is here tonight, survived the accident, thank God, but it was hard. It was rough. And I wish I had a foundation in the Lord during that time. I didn't have a relationship with God, but this was the first time that I really prayed and I asked for God to heal my brother. I think I would say like we were looking for a church during this time, so it kind of put a pause to that, but we shortly after we found Low Country Community Church right over there, and we never stopped attending. But it took me about a year to really understand and really enjoy church because at first I didn't like it. It was nothing against the church, but I just didn't understand. About a year later, I attended a summer camp there and I gave my life to Christ. But I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was doing, but now looking back, I realized that it's the best decision I ever made. I would say the transformation of my life truly happened about 4 years later, around Christmas of 2020, when my grandfather passed away. This was really hard. One of the hardest things I've ever witnessed, ever gone through, because I was so close to my grandpa and I hadn't seen him because of the pandemic in over a year. And also, I didn't have any clarity on if I would see him again because he wasn't a Christian. This was just devastating, and I cried out to God. It was the first time that I kind of laid down my pain and I said, God, take it away, do something. I didn't know what I wanted him to do, but I just kept praying and asking God to work in my life. I was doubtful, I had no hope, but I kept praying. And God answered. He heard me, he saw me, and he answered me in a way I did not know was possible. A few months after my grandpa passed away, my dad informed me that the church he was a part of at a young age, they found out about his passing and they announced that they had record of his salvation. This just gave me unexplainable peace that I would see my grandpa again. Again, I didn't know what to pray. I didn't even pray for that, but God answered me. He heard me and he gave me peace. And that really just helped me through that season and helped me to kind of move past it. And I wish I could say since then, since surrendering, since kind of just letting my pain go to the Lord, I wish I could say it's been easy, but it hasn't. I've struggled and I've messed up countless times, but I've had that foundation to fall back on like we were singing about earlier. I've been able to fall back on my foundation with the Lord and just knowing that whatever I was going through, he was with me. To close, I want to share 3 important points that I've learned in my life thus far and I hope can benefit y'all wherever you are in your life. The first point is each day is a gift. Because I almost lost my brother, I learned that we need to be grateful for wherever we are. Each day, we don't know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow's not promised, so we need to make sure we're living in the moment and being present and just being grateful for whatever we have, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because, again, I almost lost my brother, so looking back, I just need to remember that, I can't take for granted what I have. In John 10:10, Jesus says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." In Matthew 6:34, Jesus says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. The second point is your pain has purpose. After reflecting on my grandpa's death and other struggles that I faced in my life, I have seen the good outcome that have come from it. I think God allows certain things to happen to us for a greater good. And I think in the midst of those pains and those struggles, we really just have to turn to him and trust with faith that he will get us through it. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God, in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Sorry. In Psalm 23, David prayed, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And the third and final point is to be bold in prayer. One of the main things I've struggled with in the past few years is friendships. I think I've had a lot of friends that have just brought me down and that were just not beneficial to my faith. And so one day I just decided I had had enough, and I prayed and I asked God, bring me friends that will be fruitful, that will benefit me, and take away the people in my life that don't need to be there. That's a hard prayer to pray, but I had faith that God would answer, and I knew he would. I wish I could say that after praying that it was easy, but it was hard. I went through a long phase of loneliness, and I felt like I had no one. I struggled really hard, but I kept turning to God, and unlike other times when I faced struggles, I prayed through it, and I grew in my faith during this time. And I think that's one of the good things that came from that, was me being able to grow in the Lord and just focus on myself and build up that relationship with him. And of course, he answered my prayer, and I got some good friendships, and I'm super grateful for it. And I just want to encourage any of you who, if any of you are struggling with friends or whatever it is, just turn to God and be bold in prayer. These 3 points are insights that I wish I had earlier on, and I hope can benefit y'all. Wherever you are, God gives us all different spiritual battles, but it's how we respond to those battles that matters. How we continue to turn to him even when it's hard. So just remember, always be bold in prayer. Remember that your pain has purpose. And the last point was, each day is a gift, so be grateful for what you're given. Thank you.